Hello everyone, this is Serious Trivia. Welcome back to our Subscriber Game Tournament Season 2 as we continue with our Round 1 matchups in Group 4 between Kent United in the green versus Zhongyi in the red. And looking at the general choices, it pains me to see Yan Baihu leading an army again, as you're pretty much telling your opponent that you're bringing the stock general, and we have Yan Baihu with his brother Yan Yu and Lu Bu for Kent United. It's a pretty powerful setup actually. Not only do we have the stock unit in Yan Baihu who has the poison volley, and also the units will get stock as well. Yan Yu has mending, which is very valuable in terms of boosting a little bit of health for the generals that's fighting alongside of him, because you can heal all three. 1.6k each, so it's about 5k heal for each use. There's 4 uses, but more importantly, you're giving them 50% armor and 50% melee resistance for the next 30 seconds. So that's the main power component of mending. And then Lu Bu, obviously a super strong general. The unit choices, however, are a bit all over the place. So we have Zhanma Jian on Yan Baihu. Now, of course, they are invisible, or they have stock in this case, but as a unit, I don't think Zhanma Jian is worth their cost. They're lightly armored, despite their appearance in the game. I think they only have about 30% armor, so they don't do really that well compared to, say, the Camp Crushers, which is a much better quality version of them, and the fact that he brought Lu Bu meant he could have got Camp Crushers and perhaps put a few cavalry on Yan Baihu so that their invisible cavalry might be a better value. I forgot what the unit's called, but the big axe wielding unit from Yan Baihu's roster, it's okay as well. The main problem, once again, glass cannon. He basically brought 4 splash damage infantry that's a bit glass cannon. The fact that they are sort of invisible due to stock will help them. Then on Yan Yu, we have 4 Azure Dragons again. Because of the lack of unit choices for bandit units, there's not many good choices, so going with something like Azure Dragon could be helpful if you're worried about fighting enemy cavalry. They are hybrid. They will have poison volley, well, not poison volley, but poison arrows and regular arrows at their disposal. I don't think they can fire arrows because they're not on sort of a strategist lineup here. And then Lu Bu has the Flying Riders, which I think is just a little bit more expensive than Xiliang cavalry, and they're about the same. The damage is a little bit less because it's more balanced damage. I think these uses a Ji, so their base damage and armor piercing damage is very similar and very balanced, versus being heavily skewed towards armor piercing damage for the spear using Xiliang Cav, which I think makes Xiliang Cav better at a cheaper cost. Honestly, with a very similar lineup, just switching who's recruiting what, if Lu Bu is recruiting the Camp Crushers instead of the Zhanma Jian on Yan Baihu, and Yan Baihu goes with perhaps just a few shot cavalry for assistance, it might be a slightly better lineup, but I think it will still work. The element of surprise is obviously gone because Yan Baihu is the first general in the army. In response, Zhongyi has Huang Fusong, Xun You, who will have foresight. He has to activate the ability, but now that he knows Yan Baihu's on their side, he probably will activate. You'll get the foresight for 3 minutes, so you can kind of see his starting position to make sure he doesn't flank you in the beginning. And then we have Utugu. We have some interesting troops. So, Defender of Empire, very standard, unbreakable, frontline infantry. They're not super powerful because they're basically just spear guards with improved armor. They're very cheap, they're very good, mainly because of unbreakable. Then we have a Pearl Dragon, which feels like an odd choice here. And then 2 of the Defender of Tyrant Slayers, I think they're called. They're good against generals. Basically bonus damage against generals, I think. And then we have a variety of crossbow units, repeating crossbowmen, and we have what looks like heavy crossbowmen. We'll have to see in game if it's a heavy or the regular version. Having 4 range unit might be a little bit too much. And then looking at Utugu's unit, it gets even wilder. We have, I think, what is 2 Follower the Flame. They are the definition of glass cannon infantry. Big flaming mace applies the fire debuff, but they don't wear shirts or armor, so they're very fragile. And I think those 2 units are willing fighters, good against generals. We have a Tiger, and we also have what is the Might of the Valley, I believe? It's a axe-wielding Nama unit who's actually quite strong. But let's hop into game, and we'll take a look at how they're deployed and how it plays out. So, we have a pretty aggressive deployment by Kent United. Didn't go all the way, but pretty much pushed the guerrilla deployment all the way up to the river, hiding in the forest. He kept Yanbaihu together. Maybe he realized his mistake and didn't want to risk isolating him, and he can just walk it up and decide to see if the enemy have any sort of foresight with them. But the fact that you're keeping all your supposedly stock units together with your main army kind of defeat the purpose of them having stock. Then looking at Zhongyi's side, we have a... I don't even want to say this is a standard lineup because no one puts these units on the flanks in a regular campaign, but here it makes some sense. We have the front line of Defenders of Empire who's ready in turtle formation. Repeating crossbow in the front. Heavy crossbow, they are heavy, so it kind of looked like they had more armor. Heavy crossbow in the back. Willing fighters who has 4 times damage against generals. If the generals dismount, they're good at, just crowding them down, do damage to them. Follow the Flame, yeah, no defensive stats, and we're basically going for the burning effect coming off the mace. The Tigers are just really disruptive. They're not that strong anymore. Interesting choice. I don't know if they're strong or not. I just don't see enough Tiger usage to make a judgment. Maybe we'll find out now. The main thing is you can't control them once you release them, so it's kind of up to the Tigers and the AI code to determine what they will do. Pearl Dragons in the back here. It is a Might of the Valley. Berserk, once they go half health, which will improve their attack rate, which is most of the splash damage or the big axe users' weakness. And this will help out once they drop below half health. And then the cavalry's put on the front lines here. We had Destroyer of Treachery, not Tyrant Slayers. Right, so they're the splash damage. I got it confused with John Allen's unit. But Destroyers of Treachery, they're the splash damage cavalry. Seems like both sides brought a lot of splash damage, right? Because we have Zhama Jian, we have White Tiger Warriors, we have Destroyer of Tyrant, we have Might of the Valley on this side, and we'll see how things play out here. As the generals on this side is definitely stronger. If Yanyu is used properly with the Mending, Lü Bu and Yanbaihu fight together, there's a lot of potential. Seems like they're pretty happy hiding in the forest, even though they're not hidden. These units are not in the forest. Did we activate it? Yes, we did. Okay, so now they're revealed. So he did realize that Yanbaihu is here. Well, obviously, he's the first general. And we have a good 3 minute where we know where he is, so he knows he's not flanked. And the question is, does anyone want to move? I mean, ideally, which side would want to move? I would think these 3 generals should just go after one of the horses. Lü Bu would just freeze them with Dragon's Gaze, 1 smash, and then a couple damage from the generals. We kill the cavalry off before the battle even starts. But Zhongyi is moving up. Yanbaihu could start moving soon. We outwait the 100 seconds, and then he can just disappear. Xunyo is interesting. So Xunyo here has turning the tide, which means if anything start routing, all the units would get a pretty decent damage boost and morale boost on top of that. He has really fast attack speed, and also more health than a typical strategist. I'm not sure if I understand why Kent United is so passive here. His lineup is not really a defensive lineup. Like, these are supposedly invisible units. They should be spread out, trying to catch different units off guard. Because right now, when this wears off, I mean, obviously this currently has 40 seconds left, but when it wears off, these 5 units will disappear from vision. But right now, if they engage in battle, they pretty much just show up. There's no element of surprise there. So we have a Wang Fusong sighting, trying to get some nice hail of arrows down. I think he's going after units. The risk is the enemy general responding, but it doesn't look like Kent United is doing any sort of response with his generals. I mean, his advantage, if you just look at different comp, is that he has 3 really strong generals, much stronger than the 3 offered here. This cavalry's hidden now, but it wasn't hidden before. Okay, send all 3. Send all 3. They don't do anything standing here. Just send all 3. I wonder who he will target. Would he switch target and go after Liu Bu here? Adding that little bit of melee evasion, not gonna do much. This could have been a 3-on-1. Now it's just a 1v1 with another coming. The poison wore off. And he's sending another one in response. Yan Bai will not only send in first, he's not doing anything. It's already worn off. Yan Bai should just be going over here and just spraying the front lines. Yeah, this doesn't make a lot of sense. Basically, the enemy ran all the way to your side. You have all these units, all these cavalry, and you're fighting 1v1s? And it's not even 1v1s, 1v2. And you get sprayed on your back line. I mean, granted, Liu was a good fighter, and we have the Stalker ability being activated here in the forest, which means they get 30% melee resistance if they stay in the forest. Okay, Yan Bai who's making his move, Yan Bai who's making his move. But this was preventable damage. They see him. We'll see if there's any cavalry response. I mean, to be fair, Zhongyi is not microing his units either. Like, the cavalry's not doing anything. And his generals are getting chunked over there because, like I said in the beginning, Kent United has much better generals. And fighting in the forest is a huge advantage. 30% melee resistance here. Any sort of dismounting abilities? No, they're just all fighting on horseback. Is he healing? I don't see any mending being used. Or maybe he used it, but we didn't get to see it. But they're winning, so it's not a big problem. Ooh, the melee resistance. He's 98% now with that boost. Oh! That's what we're looking for. Up close hail of arrow. It scared Liu Bu away, but he can still fight. Oh. Yeah. That was very avoidable. At the same time, Yan Bai, who is not getting poison volleys off, he's taking out units, but that's mainly because he has cavalries with him. He might have sprayed these two when we're looking away. They traded Wu Tugu, but then they both died. I think just super avoidable situation. Like the enemy sent one guy over, you should be flocking him. They should be moved up to shoot the cavalry. I assume he's getting another spray. No, he's getting tangled up in the melee. Interesting. He has 2 more shots, I believe. He can wait it out. Yanbai pulled back. The cavalry sort of won. I guess the William fighters died. I'm not a huge fan of William fighters. The enemy general pretty much have to be dismounted somehow for them to actually get damage on them. I like this micro. Pulling the units away. Alright, Yanbai coming to chase. Alphazon's gone. This bounce back, ooh, finally using the other cavalry. Tiger's not being released here, being saved. Or the flames. Why are these guys not joining the fight? Everyone's not using things they have. Okay, Yanbai Hu and his almost dead brother versus Xun You. So the hedges William fighters can beat him. Maybe. So when am I gonna get Tiger Watch? I believe he has at least 2 poison volley, if not 3 remaining. If the treacheries are suiciding just to kill off the cavalry. This is going very deep. By themselves. Okay, everyone is at least moving. He has not mended himself. Heal yourself. Wow. How? They got their kill. They came here to trade off that cavalry. They did it. No one moved. Like, no one went to go cover. And the cavalry didn't even run behind infantry. These are invisible. You're going to hide behind them, let them run into them. Zhama Jian's designed to kill cavalry. They get like a +5 bonus against cavalry. It's not as high as polearm. I think the glaive is like 7 points, and then if you have a spear, it's like 9 points. But Zhama Jian and Camp Crushers get at least a 5-point bonus. Everyone's obsessed with poison arrows. Look at the damage. There's no damage. We're just applying this poison for 15 seconds. One shot is enough. Any little arrow touching this unit does the same damage. This is all wasted. But they're throwing that unit to die. Because Yanbai was going to chunk him. Although he's going to get burned here. I'm not going to do too much to him. But it's 1,000 damage he probably didn't need to take. Why are we scared of a strategist? Fight him. Fight him in the forest. Even better. He has stalker ability as well. And dear brother, yeah, not healing. Still 9.2k. Use the ability. I thought he maybe had it on cooldown, but no, he's just not using it. Go help your brother out. Heal both of you at the same time. Are the tigers getting released? Not yet. Not it. Well, they're getting shot now. They're starting to die before getting released. That's interesting. Because if the handler dies, then the tiger just runs off. Yeah, from that little short exchange, Xunyo got chunked. Oh, here goes the tigers. The moment we've been all waiting for. Zhang Majian comes out, it's like, they told us to charge, but got smashed by tigers. I mean, they're gonna kill the tigers pretty quickly. Tigers are fragile. Yeah, tigers are not good. That was a pretty clean charge. We killed like, what, 10 units? Alright, Xunyo goes behind to try to snipe Yan Yu. He hits him for 2k. I'll look back over here because I don't think that's going to be too much to see. Alright, now the crossbow units are getting value. The tigers, waste of money. There's a couple left. Like, even with the units help, tigers killed, what, less than 20-30 guys? Maida Valley will shred units. A lot of damage. Here comes the Zhang Majian. Well, instantly all the evasion's gone once they touch the Follower of the Flame, but the Follower of the Flame will probably die off pretty quickly too. It's just the debuff is nice. Thunder Empire would do well. Crossbow's getting free hit. Why are you not helping your brother out? Yeah, he hit him for 5k. Kill him! Oh, it's just can't decide. Look at that control. I mean, the fact that he never used mending puzzles me. It's like the only reason to bring Yan Yu as a general. I mean, unless you wouldn't go for the brother theme, but even then, you have the ability to use it. Yeah, the crossbow is just destroying. I mean, it has to do with the fact that it's not an all infantry comp. They're just the 2 cavalry died already. So there's no one that can flank right now. But to be honest, if you take away the 4 range units and just have the infantry fight, they still had better infantry. Yanbaihu is not unbreakable, Xunyo's unbreakable. Yanbaihu came back and then his army broke, so he got army lost and he broke. Whew, what a battle. So, I think this one, it's hard to commentate this one. I feel like this one was just both sides making bad decisions and a competition between who made the less bad decision. Because to be fair, Shen Zhongyi's side, when he sent Huang Fusong for that first Hail of Arrow, that's a very ill-advised move. You know they have Yanbaihu, so he saw all the units, right? He know exactly where all the enemy units are. He activated his Ancient Wisdom ability to see everything. But he runs over here by himself. If Kent United sent all 3 his generals at the 1 general and used the 2 cavalry, who's also right here, at that 1 general, not only would Huang Fusong not be able to shoot the back line of Azure Dragons with Hail of Arrows, they would probably either severely damage him or kill him. And even if that's not the case, and they're just fighting, and that Utugu came in, just filtered in by himself again, they still have 2 extra cavalry, 1 extra general. They have mending, which apparently was never used, to just finish up the 2 generals. And then push up with the infantry. The invisible infantry can close the gap. The cavalry can open up some flank. The invisible infantry should be spread out. Once the Ancient Wisdom disappears, that's when you can trick them. Because they saw you here, now you split. 1 to the left, 1 to the right, or a pair to the left, a pair to the right. And then when they start coming in, where their archers are, then come out and just flank them. Yeah, it's like you drafted for so many things that you can do, and then you don't use any of them. So it feels kind of weird. Also, people are using poison arrows like just as damage, which is a big mistake. You're just hoping to apply a splash of poison if it just touches that entire group. So let's say this group of unit, just like how this fire effect, the second one mace make contact with a group of unit, the entire group get that debuff. The entire group, every single entity start burning because you're applying the status to every single model in the entity. And the same thing applies for poison. You're doing no damage with that individual arrow, but the power is when that one arrow touches that group, everyone in the group gets poisoned. And that's all you want. It's a very micro-intensive, weapon to use. Over time, if you, have 10 volleys or 10 ammo and you apply it correctly, you can do a lot of damage. But if you don't have that patience, just apply the first ones, go for 15 seconds, switch to a regular arrow, do actual damage. The difference is massive because regular arrows, even the worst quality archer arrows, 25 base, 20 armor piercing, you're doing 6 base damage with the poison volleys on one target. So you're just repeatedly poisoning. It's like 15 seconds, 15 seconds, 15 seconds. And then in the end, instead of doing like a couple minute worth of poison damage, you do like 20 seconds because you shot them again after a takedown to 14 seconds and it goes back up to 15. It's just very wasteful. And yeah, that's the match. Let's check out the end battle. So, not too surprising. I mean, Lü Bu went down fighting honorably is what I would give him. He went to fight Wang Fusong, which was a match he could win, and he was winning. And then when Wu Tugu came, we had another honorable movement where only Yan Yu came to help. But Yan Yu refused to heal anyone, not even himself, when he only had 3 morale and 9.2k health. And eventually, both of them targeted Lü Bu and were able to trade it off, especially after using the Hell Arrow on him. Yes, I know he has 80% armor. It'll only do 20% of the damage, but a full hit would be 60k. I think he only got 2 of the burst on him, which is 30k. 20% of that's 6k damage. It's not high, but Lü Bu's max health is 25k. It's still a big chunk, and that really what did him in. He died. He died first without killing anything because he only fought generals. In this composition, Yan Yu is your general fighter because he doesn't have any ability to help you kill infantry. Lü Bu is your infantry fighter. He's your splash damage dealer. Yan Baihu is also your, infantry killer. I think he got 1 shot off. I think he shot one of the Wulin fighters and one of the Follow the Flame when we weren't looking, because they appeared very damaged when we came back, and he doesn't have any sort of splash ability. So I doubt he charged in and did that. So I think he got 1 shot off. He had a lot of opportunities to get way more than 1 shot off. As a matter of fact, if you think about it, when the generals were being sent, and let's say, Sun Yu never came. I mean, the fact that he actively used Sun Yu in the end to bring down Yan Yu was, I guess, good in the end, but honestly, not a good play either, because Yan Baihu, if he stayed on top of him, he got him down from 18k to 13k and then just decided, I need to go back and help my units. Well, if that's the case, when the enemy units are charging you and you need to go help kill a general and you can win that fight, just pull all your generals back. Tell them to, all your units, tell them to run back to the edge of the map. Buy yourself some time to kill the enemy general. And then the problem is after that, these units are invisible. Just hide them out on the map. Don't engage in a fight that you will lose. Come back, use the remaining 3 poison volleys on the infantry. It's going to be really hard to get rid of the unbreakable unit now that Lü Bu's gone, but you can at least soften them up, walk them into a trap. You have stock, you have tools, but really didn't get utilized. And regardless, congratulations to Zhongyi for moving on. 15-minute match here. So they're not going to have the side selection. We're going to see Beihai Butchers with the side selection in round 2. And we'll check out that match next week. So until then, bye.